Chapter 3. What time is it?
We will learn to tell the time, to tell the date, to tell the day, and to tell the month. Observing and asking questions. We will learn to say the time. Here are what we will do. First, we will listen carefully to our teacher say the times. It's 1 o'clock, it's 2 o'clock, and so on. Second, we will repeat the words after the teacher, one by one.
We will say the sentences loudly, clearly, and correctly.
It's 1 o'clock. It's 2 o'clock. It's 3 o'clock. It's 4 o'clock. It's 5 o'clock. It's 6 o'clock. It's 7 o'clock. It's 8 o'clock. It's 9 o'clock. It's 10 o'clock. It's 11 o'clock. It's 12 o'clock.
Observing and asking questions.
We will tell Benny's meal times every day orally. Here are what we will do. First, we will listen carefully to our teacher say the sentences. Second, we will repeat the sentences after the teacher one by one. Then, we will draw the hands of the clock to show the times. We will say the sentences loudly, clearly, and correctly. It is 6 o'clock in the morning. It's time for breakfast. I have breakfast at 6 o'clock in the morning. It is 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's time for lunch. I have lunch at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It is 7 o'clock in the evening. It's time for dinner. I have dinner at 7 o'clock in the evening.
Collecting information. We will tell the class the meal times of everybody in our groups. Here are what we will do. We will work in groups. First, we will repeat the example to tell Benny's meal times after the teacher. Second, we will make a table of our meal times in our notebooks. Then, each one of us will handwrite to tell the meal times of everybody in our group in our notebooks. Finally, each of us will tell the meal times of everybody in our groups to the class orally. We will use a dictionary. We will spell the words and use the punctuation marks correctly. We will say the sentences loudly, clearly, and correctly too. If we have any problems, we will go to our teacher for help.
Number. Name. Benny. Breakfast time 6 o'clock in the morning. Lunch time 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Dinner time 7 o'clock in the evening. Benny has breakfast at 6 o'clock in the morning. He has lunch at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. He has dinner at 7 o'clock in the evening.
Observing and asking questions.
We will learn to tell what Edo does on one Sunday. Here are what we will do. We will work in groups. First, we will listen and repeat after the speaker to read each activity carefully. Second, we will draw the hands of the clock to show each time. We will say the sentences loudly, clearly, and correctly.
It is Sunday. It is 5 o'clock in the morning. Edo gets up and takes a bath. It is 8 o'clock in the morning. Benny, Udin, and Edo fly kites. They have lots of fun. It is 1:30 in the afternoon. Edo goes to the library with Udin and Benny. They love reading books.
Observing and asking questions.
It is 4:30 in the afternoon. Edo and his family go to the park. They ride on a bicycle to go there. It is 7 o'clock in the evening. Edo and his family have dinner together. His father cooks a delicious roasted chicken. It is 8:30 in the evening. Edo prepares his stuff for school tomorrow. He puts many books into his school bag. It is 9 o'clock at night. Edo says goodnight to his parents. His parents kiss. It is 9:30 at night. He does not forget to pray before he sleeps.
Collecting information. What does Edo do on one Sunday? We will handwrite the information in a table. Here are what we will do. We will work in groups. First, we will read the situations carefully. Second, we will discuss and decide the information from each statement. Then, every one of us will copy the example and handwrite the information on the table.
We will use a dictionary. We will spell the words and use the punctuation marks correctly. When we are writing, we will say the sentences loudly, clearly, and correctly. If we have any problems, we will go to our teacher for help. Number 1. Morning, afternoon, evening. In the morning. Time, 5 o'clock. Activities, Edo gets up and takes a bath. Additional information.
Observing and asking questions.
We will learn to tell what we usually do on Sunday. Here are what we will do. First, we will listen carefully to the conversation. Second, we will repeat the conversation sentence by sentence. Then, in groups, we will play the roles of the speakers in the conversation. We will say the sentences loudly, clearly, and correctly.
Hi Lina, what do you usually do on Sunday morning?
On Sunday morning, I usually go to the park with my family.
What time do you go to the park with your family?
I usually go there at 7 in the morning. What about you, Dayu? What do you usually do on Sunday morning?
I usually go to the traditional market with my father.
Oh, really? What time do you usually go there?
About 6:30 in the morning. The vegetables are still fresh at that time. You should go there.
Sure, I'll tell my mom about it.
Collecting information. We will learn to say the hour and the minute of the time. Here are what we will do. We will work in groups. First, we will read the conversation carefully. Second, we will discuss and decide the information from the conversation. Then, Every one of us will handwrite the missing information from the conversation.
We will use a dictionary. We will spell the words and use the punctuation marks correctly. When we are writing, we will say the sentences loudly, clearly, and correctly. If we have any problems, we will go to our teacher for help.
On. Lina and her family go. They usually go there at. On. Dayu and her family go to. They usually go there at.
Collecting information.
We will find out and tell our daily activities and the daily activities of one classmate. Here are what we will do. First, we will work in pairs. Second, we will interview each other to know what we usually do every day and the time we do each activity. Then, we will put the information in the table. We will use a dictionary. We will spell the words and use the punctuation marks correctly. When we are writing, we will say the sentences loudly, clearly, and correctly. If we have any problems, we will go to our teacher for help.
You. Number 1. Time 5 o'clock. Activities: wake up. Your friend. Number 1. Time 4:30. Activities: wake up.
Collecting information. We will report our findings in good sentences. Here are what we will do. First, we will study the example carefully. Second, we will make sentences about our daily activities. Then, we will handwrite it on our notebook.
We will use a dictionary. We will spell the words and use the punctuation marks correctly. When we are writing, we will say the sentences loudly, clearly, and correctly. If we have any problems, we will go to our teacher for help. Example: I usually wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. My friend usually wakes up at 4:30 in the morning.
Observing and asking questions. This is the calendar of 2016. Here are what we will do. First, we will listen carefully to our teacher say the names of the months. Second, we will repeat the words after the teacher, one by one. We will say the words loudly, clearly, and correctly.
2016. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December.
Collecting information.
We will be drilled by our teacher to say the names of months. Here are what we will do. First, we will be drilled by our teacher how to say the name of months in different situations orally. We must not see our notebook. Second, our teacher will say the name of a month and we will say the name of before and after the month. we will do it very fast. We will use a dictionary. We will say the sentences loudly, clearly, and correctly. If we have any problems, we will go to our teacher for help. Before November is October.
August is after July. April is before May.
After May is June.